Jennifer Caniglio with Corporate Counsel Business Journal, and we're thrilled to be working with our partner Checkbox to present today's Tech Tuesday webcast, How a Legal Front Door is the Catalyst for an Optimized Legal Department. Today's distinguished speaker is Joshua Moore, Director of Sales Engineering for Checkbox, and we remind you just to ask questions, fill out the survey, and adjust your video icons. You can do all of that right there on your audience console or the menu tab above. And now it's my pleasure to pass it off to Josh. Josh, take it away.
Hey everyone, thanks for taking some time out of, I'm sure, your busy day to take a look at Checkbox to see how we might be able to help as that legal front door. Today we wanted to highlight something that's pretty innovative. I haven't seen it elsewhere. It's this idea of conversational intake. And really the problem we're going to get to the crux of is, how do business requesters at your business get their request to your legal team, but to make sure it is a complete request, that your legal team has all the information you typically have? What we're going to show today is a more frictionless way to do that. So I'm going to go and start and share my screen, and we can jump right in. Now, as we're looking at this, you don't have to be shy or bashful. You can pepper the comments with questions, comments. We're here for you. See if we can't help you out. So like I said, Checkbox, what we're really talking about today is this idea of the legal front door. And really what we recognize is that you are kind of in a unique position where you get to work with, I guess get to is a relative term, you get to work with everybody. Like everybody needs legal's help. Commercial, procurement, compliance, product, marketing, HR, like they all need legal's help at one point. And they're all bringing you work from different avenues, means, methods. And what we see is that that can be difficult for three reasons. One, like it's hard to have visibility, obviously, when people are coming at you from all angles. It's hard to be efficient when some of those requests that come in from sales, they claim are super important, when in reality, they're probably not. And then it's also difficult to demonstrate the value that your team is providing to the greater business. And it really starts at intake, being able to capture, manage, and resolve those legal requests in a way that's both easy for the business and easy for yourself. And that's what we're going to really highlight today in this demonstration. You might be in a situation like this. Someone submits something in Slack or email, Teams, right? They're coming to all different directions and they're going to who knows who, you know, whoever will respond. That's who they're sending the request to, right? Checkbox will take you from this jumbled mess of spaghetti noodles to this, a true legal front door where we can be that orchestration layer between the business and the legal team and make sure everything is nice, neat, organized, goes through the processes, the procedures that you need it to go through. And we think about it in a few different ways. So what we're going to highlight today is the intelligent chatbot. A request is raised. Checkbox can understand the context, solve it with self-service, deflect it from legal altogether. If it requires a person, we can pass it along and create an actual request. If it involves a process, we can actually kick off that process, all through conversational intake. So enough of the slides. Let's jump in and we'll show you exactly what we're talking about today. Now, I'm going to show you maybe what you're used to, or maybe this is better than what you have today, but we'll show you what's the best. Traditionally, if someone wanted to get a request to your legal team, they might fill out a form, right? Like this, which Checkbox supports. Forms are great. They're familiar for a lot of people. We all know how to use them, right? I could come in and say, hey, I need to submit a legal request. Click next. And then I might choose, well, what do I need help with? I need marketing materials to be reviewed. And then I can click next. And what I'm able to do is I can just walk down this path and provide all the necessary information to kick off this request. So we'll go through, pick when it's supposed to happen, and then upload any supporting material as a part of this particular request. Now, this is nice because on one hand, for the legal team, once I submit this request, you're going to have all the details that you would need right here out of the gate. The campaign name, the type of material, context for the request, right? That's never usually provided, what regions it's associated with. All of that gets provided automatically. But what's great about that is maybe there's a better way. We'll go and submit this request. Now the request will be recorded and logged here in your matter management. Now this could be Checkbox, this could be whatever tool you use for matter management, but this is where that request will funnel. This is where that legal front door will lead to for your team. If we refresh, we can see at the top, there's that marketing review we just submitted, already in. If we select it, we can see details about that request. We can see a copy of the marketing material that's being proposed to legal. And on the right, you can see any of that metadata or details specific to that type of request, which is great. Legal got what they needed. The business was able to provide everything in the first pass. Right, what's wrong with that? Well, what we have found is that for certain organizations that maybe have that culture or process already established, it does work. It does make sense. For me as a business user, I know where to go. I know where the form is. I can fill out the form and I can provide the details. For a lot of organizations, though, that process might not be as established, or there might be detractors that just email you directly regardless. And that's where Checkbox really shines. It's this idea of we meet you where you work. And it's kind of what opens up the different avenues of intake so that the business can work where they work, but requests can end up here where legal works. And for that, let's show you some examples. If I jump into my email and I just draft up a brand new email, let's say, I'm going to go and send this email to maybe my legal inbox. So this could be legal at, your company or whatever shared mailbox you might use. And in this example, I'm just going to say, hey, I have a quick question, right? And I'm going to say, I don't know, maybe I got a gift to go to the World Cup, right? If any soccer or football fans are on. Am I allowed to go? Like, it's a question I have for legal, and I don't know the answer. So I'm just going to send this to legal. Just send the email, right? You may experience this today, actually. That kind of question, it doesn't really make sense for me to go fill out a form to ask, does it? But I still need legal's guidance. So I can just send an email. And what Checkbox will then do is we're actually set up and configured specific to your policies, your procedures, your processes, what type of information you need for your different types of requests. And we will then act as that administration layer, and we will do the back and forth data collection. If you see here, I just got an email back asking, could you please provide the following details? Is the gift provider currently involved in any business decisions, negotiations, or contracts with the company that could create a potential conflict of interest? When was the gift received? What is the estimated value of the gift? Great, I'll go ahead and reply then. And I'll say, yes, we work with them on active business. The tickets are worth $6,000 and maybe I got them yesterday. I'll send it back. Your legal team has had to do nothing at this point. Checkbox will automatically understand the context of the request, check it against your playbook for that type of request, and then we will ask for the clarifying details automatically. You don't have to do that administrative back and forth with the business, because, like, quite frankly, how many times has someone sent you an email and said, hey, can you review this? And like, that was it. No other context, no details, no information. And then you have to reply and say, can I review what? And they go, oh, I forgot to attach it. Here it is. And then you reply back and go, oh, what's the context of this? They go, oh, I need it for this. And you spend so much time going back and forth with the business that, quite frankly, your time could be better well spent. We can see Checkbox now automatically reply and say, great, a gifts and entertainment review matter has been created. Because the value was $6,000, that exceeded our threshold. And so it had to officially be declared. Now, if I go into the platform and I jump back a level, we can see now that request just landed right here in Checkbox. Gifts and entertainment review, World Cup tickets. I'll go ahead and select it. You can see right in the middle all of the correspondence that just took place. Here's all of that communication that we automatically did to capture the relevant details for that request. And then on the right, you'll notice we tagged all of the metadata specific to that type of request. You didn't have to do any tagging. It was all automatic. You can see we auto-assigned it to Jennifer. She's the one who does all of our gifts and entertainment review. Maybe you have it round robin. Maybe it goes in unassigned and someone on the team will assign it manually based on workload. One of the cool things about this is you'll notice it says gift or benefit type. Now, at no point did that email say, hey, Josh, what is the gift or benefit type of this request? It just knew, based on the context of the conversation, that it was entertainment. It wasn't a physical gift or a meal or a discount. And that's where the power of conversational intake comes in. For this kind of request, I guess I could go to a form and I could fill it out and I could give you the details. It might be a little too rigid. It might not really make sense. But when we look at how AI and conversational intake can help act as that legal front door, we can see in this example, I just sent a few emails back and forth. But now legal got everything they needed. It was all automatically tagged and organized correctly. Now, again, this is one example. I have many examples of use cases that customers have done for intake. So as you think about it, like, what have you done today, right? Like, what are the requests you worked on today? Did you work on something related to IP? Maybe a demand letter, maybe something related to a policy or an employment issue. Those are all the kinds of requests that Checkbox can support as that legal front door. But it gets even cooler, because in this example, right, all I had to do was get the request to legal. And then now as the attorney, I could come in here and I might say, okay, I'm going to send an email back to Josh. And I'm going to say, hey, can you provide me these details? Or, you know, I'll email them in Outlook. That will sync in automatically, right? I can actually start working on the request here. Well, if you think of some of the work you do, it might already have a process defined. You might already know that, oh, if this request comes in, step A happens, then step B, and then step C. Well, Checkbox can do that as well. So let me show you another example. Let's say instead I am in Slack, and I go here to my legal team channel. Well, maybe in this example, I just have a quick question. Hey, who signs contracts for $50,000, right? Question you might get often. It's very interesting to me how the business, instead of reading policies themselves, they would rather ask their legal team to read the policy for them and give them the answer. I don't know why, but that's just the world we live in. Well, not anymore, because Checkbox, we have your policy, so we can see, oh, look, contracts up to $50,000 can be signed by your senior manager, Jamie Brooks. Again, totally deflected. You don't have to spend any of your valuable time answering that question. It's already documented. It's just a matter of getting the information to the person. And you can actually click this little blue link and it will take you specifically to where that answer is in the supporting documents. Awesome. Well, if we want to take it a step further and said, maybe in one example, I might say, hey, you know what? I need a partnership agreement. Maybe I'm working with a new partner, Kirkland Signature, and we have this go-to-market strategy for 2026. Here's their address, right? So I can just provide some information. Well, this is where Checkbox takes it to that next level, because while legal may need to review this, Checkbox can actually just kick off the entire process. We automatically respond, oh, I can help. I just need a few details. I need the partner signatory name, title, and email address. Okay, I'll just provide that, send it off. Once we provide that information, Checkbox will then kick off a workflow specific to this process, which in my example, it's actually going to generate a partnership agreement. It will do the document assembly. And because it's a strategic alliance partnership, it's going to automatically send it for an approval process. Now, in this example, you might be thinking, you can see one question, how does it know what questions to ask? Like, how did this legal bot know that I needed this information to kick off this process? This is where it gets kind of even cooler, because what Checkbox does is we can actually ingest all of your requests in the past. So maybe we take the past 3 months of emails if they're in your inbox or wherever they are, and we can decipher and categorize all your request types automatically and create those different fields to know what questions to ask back and forth, just based upon what you've done in the past. So we actually can use your past knowledge to configure this for you going forward. So it's kind of nice. Now that said, we also have templates and best practices. So we know that, oh, you know, for this kind of request, these are the typical questions you'd ask. But it's all configured specific to each of our clients. If I jump into my email, I can see right at the top, oh, look, hey, a new contract needs your approval. Here's the details of the request. Pulled it directly from Slack. And in fact, you can see, like, this is not smoke and mirrors, this kind of demo. This is the real deal. If we open up this partnership agreement, you can see it generated it automatically. It put in, this is strategic. It dropped all that information in. I made it highlight in yellow to make it easy to see. You see, it just generated that contract based upon a conversation in Slack. And for my setup, it has to go through an approval process. So now as the legal team or as the manager or, you know, whoever you want to approve it, I can click that link. It takes me into the portal where I can say, oh, here it is. Do I approve or not approve? Yeah, let's go and approve it. You know, if I don't approve it, well, why don't you approve it? I can then provide an answer, and it will route back automatically to the question. We're going to hit approve and click next. Once we approve it, we'll then send it automatically via DocuSign. So we'll wait for that DocuSign to come in. Now, one thing to note, from the configuration side, I can see another question came in. Yes, you are able to provide instructions so that it asks certain questions. 100%, yes. In fact, Checkbox is a very easy platform to do that in. One of the big reasons legal teams like to go with Checkbox is because it is a true like no-code solution. It's very easy to administer. In fact, we'll even show you an example live of what that looks like and providing instruction. So to finish up this example, we can see automated approval email went back to the business. Hey, it was approved. And then look, here it is via DocuSign, automatically sent out. So from just a Slack conversation back and forth, we're able to kick off this process to generate a document, send it through the appropriate channels for approval, and then automatically execute it via DocuSign or Adobe Sign if you have that. Once it's executed, we will then drop it off wherever you want it to go. We could put it in SharePoint, Google Drive. We could store it. We could put it in your DMS, NetDocuments, iManage, right? Whatever makes sense for the team. So we'll just go ahead and quickly sign this one. We'll just put a signature there, and it's done. Good to go. Now to configure this, that's where it's like really easy to do this. So let's say we'll go ahead and open up a new Word document. Now this is going to be an oversimplification, obviously, but it kind of shows you the power. So I'm going to say, if someone asks to join a webinar, tell them to join the Corporate Counsel Business Journal webinar that Josh is running right now. So in this example, we have a source material. We can, provide some instructions. Oftentimes, this might be what your policies you already have documented or what procedures you already have documented. In fact, we will build this for you too. So if you have the content, like I mentioned earlier, we can take your past requests. Same thing with, like, we can take that past information and formulate these for you automatically. We'll go and just save this locally. And I'm just going to call this one, I'll just call it webinar. So we'll give you a little peek at the admin side of things. Great, so we have our webinar instructions. We'll close it out. This is what that intake experience looks like, right? Obviously, there is a full audit trail. So you can see here's all the conversations that took place. You can see who's using it. In fact, people will use this to then further optimize, and they go, oh, why? Why is everybody asking this question? Well, let's work with HR and provide more training, right? Like, it's kind of a great data point. Anything it didn't know the answer to, what's great about this, the way Checkbox does this AI conversational intake, is it is a closed environment. It will only ever answer based upon the source material you've specifically provided it. If the answer is not there, it's going to fall back to whatever you set up to do. For me, it fallbacks and creates a general matter. So there are not many situations of it giving false information. It will only answer from what's in here. So let's go ahead and let's add the source document and we just created, and we'll show you how easy it is to administer this tool. So I'm going to go ahead and upload the document I just created. We're going to add source. That's it. And then we hit publish. Done. Now, this is where the actions are configured. So this is where you can say, like, hey, kick off that partnership agreement process or create the privacy system matter. So this is where you actually configure what it does. But in that example, we just provided that. Great. So let's go now into maybe our Teams integration. And now I'm just going to say, I need to join a webinar. And there you go. In a matter of seconds, we just trained and updated that. Please join the Corporate Counsel Business Journal webinar that Josh is running right now. And then it gives me a fallback if I need assistance with something similar, corporate filing or registration. I can click this link and kick off the process that way, if I prefer. So we can see in this example how Checkbox is able to act as that legal front door. We're able to do the administrative back and forth, make sure that all of the details are provided before a request gets to legal. And in some instances, we can even deflect requests altogether by providing those answers. And if you want to take it a step further, for certain things that have a defined process, document assembly, approvals by other teams, data collection, we can also kick that off as well. Okay, we have 5 minutes left. There's one other cool thing I'll show you if we have time. I'll jump into the chat though. If you have questions, put them in there. Like, we're here to see if this will help make sense for your team, maybe alleviate some pain you're feeling in the office. Okay, so here we go. Here's a question. Do you have any major clients using Checkbox? We do, yeah. Some of our major clients, we have like SAP, Hitachi, AT&T, Kyndryl. Yeah, we have a lot of enterprise clients that do use Checkbox. And another question is, what are the common obstacles legal teams face with Checkbox? And that's a good question. What I have seen, and I don't know if it's necessarily an obstacle, but because Checkbox is really not just a legal front door, it's really like, you know, what Salesforce is to sales is what Checkbox is to legal, or what Zendesk is to support teams is what Checkbox is to legal. Checkbox really is that orchestration layer, that tool that in-house legal teams use for all of their work. So some of the obstacles we see is, you know, you might be today in a place where you know you need something. You just don't know what you need, but you know that people maybe are burning out. They feel like they're wasting time. There's too many requests coming in. The hardest part is really getting those processes documented and understanding, like, okay, these are the types of requests we're getting. This is the information we need to get. A lot of legal teams I talk to, they have that problem, but they just don't know where to start. Now, fortunately, we have a lot of that already. So we have a lot of this templatized, so we can get you 80% of the way there and go, oh, hey, you know, for this kind of like conflict of interest disclosure, it's another big one we handle. But this is what we see other businesses do. That'll get you 80% of the way there. And then we will tweak the last 20% specific to what your requirements are or what we've seen you do in the past based upon your past requests that we can glean insights from. So that's really the biggest obstacles. It's just kind of those internal decisions on how we want to do this. From a change management perspective, for the business, honestly, we meet them right where they work. So email, Slack, Teams, Salesforce, a form, like they can keep doing what they're doing and requests get right to legal. Okay, another question. Do you have smaller? We do have smaller legal teams as well that use Checkbox. Yeah, we have some legal teams, 3, 4, 5 total members, legal ops, admin that use as well. Yeah, Checkbox really focuses only on in-house corporate legal teams. So we don't sell the law firms. We're a tool built for purpose for in-house legal teams. And so, yeah, we do, I would say like 5 and greater is like the sweet spot. Less than 5, it will depend on what your current processes are. We do have customers, but I just, you know, you could, if you're interested, I mean, you could totally email me. We could dig into it and see if it would make sense for smaller teams. But typically 5 and greater, there's an immediate ROI. All right, I'll keep checking. Any other questions? Definitely put them in there. If not, there's one last thing I want to show you, one kind of cool use case we see. And this one I will show the turkey already baked. So let's say in this example, I can just forward in a subpoena. Oops, let me just show you real quick, because we have 1 minute left. So I just sent in this subpoena. I just forwarded in. That's it. What Checkbox will actually do is we can actually extract the content from the subpoena, automatically understand it, categorize it, and create a request for it right here. So I didn't do anything. I just forwarded a PDF. This is what it looks like. And then Checkbox automatically extracted the filing deadline, the request due date, the matter date, the communication date, the description, the counterparty firm, like all of that automatically. So whole other world of use case there. But with that, let me do this. I'm going to go and I'll put my email on here if anybody is interested. I mean, feel free to reach out. Happy to explore if this is something that might make sense for you, for your team, or to just, you know, go into any other use cases. There's a whole bunch of other things too that Checkbox can help solve for. So thanks for taking the time, everyone, for exploring Checkbox. See if there's any final questions. Okay, here we go. It's able to sign documents from DocuSign into local drives. So that one, if you can email me, I'll connect with you. It'll depend on how your local drives are configured for that one. But there are ways that it can be accomplished. Short answer, yes. Great. Well, everyone, thanks so much. I'll leave the screen up. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks for joining.